Hello and thanks for clicking on this video, if this is a separate from what I already did. Going back over what I already talked about, I don't really feel like I'm selling these very well. And for that I apologize. The problem is, especially those older ones, I really don't remember them very well. There's some coming up here where I remember way more about them. But I don't want to, there's the weird thing. I don't necessarily remember exactly what they're doing in a whole lot of them. I don't really remember the story of what they're doing. But on one hand, that's what I'm supposed to be putting in the video right now that I didn't. Some kind of description of what is actually going on with the story. I don't want to spend a whole time telling you what the story is about because, it's too long. It's too long. The point is more why I liked it so much or did not like it so much. And hello and thanks for clicking on this video. Part of the problem when I'm really excited to talk about something is that I don't know where to start because it's kind of like when you get a dish of your favorite food. Do you start with the stuff you're absolutely obsessed with and you love? Or do you start with the stuff that's not as important or not as exciting, so you're just getting it out of the way so that you can get to the good stuff? That's not really fair because I want to give proper time to all of this stuff, which is why I'm just going to go through them in year order, the way that makes sense. But at the same time, I'm this one is not as exciting to me. I want to talk about this one, so I don't give this one a fair shot. And then I finally get to this one, and for some reason, I'm so excited that it doesn't come out either. So I'm disappointed on both ends, and it sucks. The problem here is I don't know which one to start with, Super Sentais or Kamen Riders. This is the choice I'm trying to figure out, Kamen Riders or Super Sentais. I have Super Sentais open right now, so maybe I'll just start with Super Sentai. When did I actually watch this stuff? That is a very good question. So, the first Super Sentai that I watched... Okay, this is not in order that I watched them. The order that I watched them is all over the place, and I haven't got a clue what it is because I lost all my records. So, the order of when it was released... Here's the thing with the Super Sentai. I looked it up again recently. I call them Super Sentai. I think a lot of people call them Super Sentai because... I don't remember when. I think the original franchise had that name. It's they are the Sentais. Every single one of these. There is a word, and then Sentai, and then the specific jers. You'll see what I mean in a second. But the Super Sentai came from the fact that I think possibly when the Sentais first came out, they didn't all have the huge robot. But by a certain point, every single one of them, they end up with a huge robot that they all come together to they have their individual machines or whatever, and then they all build together and end up making this big transformer robot in a humanoid form. And that's where the super came into it, because there's the Sentais, and then they have their super giant robot thing that they fight in, so it's a Super Sentai. That's where the name Super Sentai came from. Each one of them has, like I said, a word, Sentai, something, sure. So what that means is, okay, it started, they started releasing in 1975. It was when the Super Sentai started releasing. So in the year 2000, Mirai Sentai Timeranger, that is the 24th Super Sentai team. 24 by 2000. It was the 24th. So by 2021 to 2022, that was the 45th Super Sentai. So Mirai is future Sentai Timeranger. So every single one of these names is a mashup between English and Japanese. It's kind of funny. So the first one on the list, the oldest one that I have seen, is Mirai Sentai Timeranger. And this one, from what I remember, there were 2 reds. For one thing, there's not very many of the Sentais that have 2 reds, but there's 2 reds because this one, the reason it's called Future Sentai Timeranger is that the team came from the future and went to the past. I don't remember why. I don't remember how that ended up happening, but whatever it was that made them go to the past, the red from their team in the future did not come with them. I don't remember why. He did not come with them. So in the past, the team that you have, and I think maybe I should look it up because I don't even remember how many are on their team. Darn it, I guess I have to look this up. When the team from the future goes to the past, they need a guy that becomes their red in the past. And then, whether this is a spoiler or not, the red from the future does end up coming to the past for at least a little bit of time there. So there's two reds, because there's the red from the future and there's the red from the past. Yeah, okay. So, like, lots of editing right there. There's always a red, there's always a blue, and I think there's always a yellow. And then it just depends on it whether there's a pink and a green. And I think some of them have a different color. And usually the ones that join later are silver and or gold. That's the colors. And like every single Sentai is based on colors. This is what they're built on, is colors. So Timeranger, what I remember, I don't remember much of it because it was a long time ago that I watched Timerangers, like probably at least 10 years ago that I watched it. All I remember for sure, aside from what I already said, was there was something really sad about it. I'm pretty sure there was a character that dies. That actually doesn't happen very often. And I think I remember which character dies, but I won't spoil which one it is. There is a character that dies, and I'm like, that's not fair. I was really upset because it just wasn't fair when the character died. I'm pretty sure that character died. I don't think it was just in yearly. And like I say, that doesn't happen very often. There are ones where characters do die, but it's not super common. Maybe that's a spoiler too. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. But either way, in Timeranger is one of the ones where somebody dies. I'm positive it is. And like I say, I'm pretty sure I know which one, and it wasn't fair. But that's basically mostly all I remember about the Timeranger. Potentially, I think as well, Timeranger, because they are from the future, I think they go back to the future, which means the guy from the past is left all by himself because the rest go back to the future. I think. Which is really sucky for him. It's super low quality in filming quality because like it was made in 2000 and you can tell. And in a way, I don't want to be one of those people that like, I needed high definition, otherwise I can't enjoy it. I'm not that snobbish, okay? However, it is true that when it's that lower of a quality, it does slightly affect the opinion, the enjoyment, the whatever. I don't know if it's too low of a quality, but... And I mean, like, you know, back then, where things even looked even more unrealistic than they do now. But in a sense, they all, with their stupid costumes. Anyway, from what I remember... And I need to start rewatching these again. I am going to very, very soon. I don't know if I want to refilm something after I start watching them or not. Because if I rewatch them, I will have more to say. And these videos, instead of being like 10 minutes or less per one, could be end up like, you know, an hour per one. Okay, moving on to the next one. The next one is Hyakuju Sentai Gaoranger. This one, from what I remember... Sadly, it's one of the ones where, like, the main guy, I think he's a vet in this one. The main guy, i.e. Red, is focused on plenty, and you get to know him, and you like him. But technically, this is the one where the extra guy that comes into it has, like, a deep impact kind of, oh gosh, that poor guy, that story of what, But then he sort of just a little bit kind of fades into the background because this is one of the worst ones, in my opinion, for, like, knowing the team. The team is so 2D. Most of the characters, well, I enjoyed it at the same time. By the time you're done, as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, Red, the vet, the extra woman that is helping them, you get to know her plenty well enough. And the extra guy, Silver, I think he is, that comes into it, yeah, sure, you get to know him. But yellow and blue and pink and I don't know what color he is. What color is he? Black. There you go. Sometimes it's green, sometimes it's black. That was the other color. In this one, she's kind of pink, kind of white. And then black and blue and yellow and red and silver, the extra guy. So, yellow and blue and black and white, you barely know anything about them. Like, I don't remember their names. I don't remember anybody's names. I don't even remember Red's name. It was a long time ago that I watched this one. I don't remember them. Like, there's nothing. They're nothing. They're so 2D. There's, like, nothing to them. It's not that you hate them while you're watching the show. You feel like you know them while you're watching the show, kind of, but by the time you're done, like a day later, you're like, wait, how many characters were there in Gaoranger? I don't remember. What were their names? I don't know. It only takes like a day or two and you've already forgotten them. I swear. Maybe I'm over-exaggerating it, but not really. So unfortunately, that's the truth of Gaoranger. And I don't remember what their ultimate anything was in Gaoranger. The next one on the list, and now we have reached the year 2002 to 2003, the 26th Super Sentai, is Ninpu Sentai Hurricanger. And I don't remember much about this one either, apart from the fact that it was a much smaller team. It's been a long time since I watched Hurricanger, but from what I remember, this one was one of the best ones. Like, in my opinion, it's one of the best ones. At the very least, one of the best ones of the old ones. This is one of the best ones. It was one of my favorites. Partially because the original core team is only red, yellow, blue. There's only 3 of them. And then there's 2 extras that come in. And, of course, one of the draws in this one for me is that the 2 extras that come in are brothers. I love siblings. I love it when they're siblings. So there's only 5 total, including the extras that come into the team. And the 2 extras. The 2 extras in this one have their whole thing around because for at least part of the story, they're actually helping the bad guys. And then they come over to the good guys team. So, like, yeah. There's always some kind of big pull story that pulls the extra into the team. I'm going backwards for a second. Timeranger, I don't remember who was the extra. Was there an extra or was the second red the extra? Now I totally don't remember. I need to rewatch these because I need to see if my opinion changes because as I said in the overall introduction video, it is really funny how many of these, my opinion, like it wasn't even just a small shift. There's quite a few of them where it's not just a small shift. It was a huge shift of opinion between the first and the second time I watched it. So, the next one on the list, from 2003 to 2004, is Boukenger Sentai Abaranger. And from what I remember, this one is also one of the better ones. This is one of the ones where there's like the core team, the original team, there's only 3 again, red, yellow, and blue. Okay, there's more of them than I remembered that have a really small team. And then there's the 1 extra guy that comes into it. Now I'm trying to remember the 1 extra. What is his story? There was some kind of like thing with his. I'm positive there was. But I don't remember what it is at the moment. Oh, I think it had to do with was his wife? Did he have a wife or just a girlfriend? Or like not even a girlfriend, somebody that he just liked? I think it was his wife. So like, see, there's not very many of them. Like the Super Sentais and Kamen Riders, a whole lot of them. Like most of the whatever superhero shows, that most of them, there isn't a romance. There's only like a subtle hint of something in some of them. Some of them have a subtle hint of something to the team members. Some of them, the subtle hint is a little stronger than others. In like at least one of the Kamen Riders, it's a support character and one of the Kamen Riders that you know end up married because you see the movies, you see they end up married and they're a couple and all that stuff. But a lot of them, you don't see necessarily girlfriends and boyfriends. Never mind seeing actual spouses. And then the main guy, Red Abaranger, he's basically a father in this one because I think it's his niece. But her parents died, so he is raising her now. So even though he is a Super Sentai and he's going out there and getting involved in all of this, he actually has a daughter back home. Because even if it's his niece, she is now basically his daughter, so he's basically her father now. So this one, in my brain, sticks out as a little more unique and a little more interesting and drawn in there because of that aspect, those aspects. That's what, like, in my mind, made this one stick out as more of a really well done one because those aspects were included in it. And the team is a little bit smaller, so you kind of feel like you're a little bit closer and you know them better, and there's a little less, maybe a little less of copy and paste. They actually stick out a little bit more. Now the next one is Tokusou Sentai Dekaranger. And this one is one of the ones that's focused on the police team. I don't remember a whole lot about it. I really don't remember Dekaranger very well. I'm looking at the pictures. I think it was one of the ones like yellow stuck. Yeah, oh yeah. I'm looking at the girl yellow. She's the one with the unique power in this one. I do not remember the extra guy like at all. To me in this one, green and pink were sort of kind of not big favorites. They were kind of stereotypical. Blue was a little more attractive to me. And red, of course, is like a little bit young and a little bit rash, and like, so there's a whole lot of stuff going on there because they're police, so they're supposed to be more, what is the word? Politically correct, or whatever. They have the rules that they're supposed to follow, and then red is a little bit out there. Red is usually a little bit out there, like I'm telling you. There's like personality tests based on colors. I think that like that is kind of what the Super Sentais do. They pick certain stereotypical traits or whatever and associate with them with colors, and that's who you are on the team. Your color kind of already, as soon as like if you lined up the different colors in all the different Super Sentais, you can see specific kind of traits that I don't know if every single one of them that is true about, but like a whole lot of them, if you look, okay, the blues tend to have these traits. The reds tend to have these traits. The pinks tend to have these traits. Like across the board in every single Super Sentai. When I said copy paste, that's the some of them are legit like copy paste, and other ones is like copy paste as in they took these traits and made another character with these traits kind of thing. So one more that I'm going to talk about right now, and then I'm kind of out of time to talk about anything right now. That's kind of all I remember about Dekaranger. I don't remember exactly what's going on in Dekaranger. The next one would be Maho Sentai Magiranger. And Maho is magic. Magiranger, the best thing about that is that they're legit, all of them are siblings. It is a family. And I love that aspect of it. I love it. I love that aspect. Except, of course, I think even the siblings were like, wait, what? Because the youngest sibling is the one that's made red. And red is the leader of the team. So they're all like, wait a minute, what? We have to listen to our little baby brother? And then there's the extra guy who's kind of gold. He's like based on the sun, I believe, is the extra guy. And this one is definitely one of the ones that has a romance tie in it. I won't tell you how. My favorite thing about this one is the fact that they are siblings. And there's so many relatable things because it's a family of 5 siblings. There's 2 girls and 3 boys. And it's hilarious. Okay. One of my favorite characters was Yellow. Definitely one of my favorites was Yellow. And then I can't remember the age order at the moment. I think it's green, pink, blue, yellow, red. I think that's the correct order. Pink kind of acts like one of the youngest because she's very ditzy, but that's kind of what pinks usually are. They're the pretty girl, naive, ditzy, whatever type of character. In basically all of them. But anyway, I just keep giggling because I'm like, a family of fighters. It's a good one because of that. Like that's the biggest thing that sticks out to me, is I love that one for that reason. Okay, and I'm out of time, and this video is now 23 minutes. It'll be shorter than that once I cut it down. Yes, I think the main problem is, for one thing, I saw these things way too long ago. And for another thing, it really is, like, I know for a fact that nostalgia and whatnot that I explained in the kind of overall thing, I know that that's all playing into it. When I say these are really good, not everyone is going to believe me because, like, it's more the mindset and the feel that it puts me into, more of the I don't know, that it puts me into that's what's mattering most. I mean, like... I mean it though, like when I just see the names, Timeranger, I get a good impression. Gaoranger, like it was really boring and really poorly done. Hurricanger, I absolutely loved it. Abaranger, I absolutely loved it. Dekaranger, for some reason, I'm getting a good feeling. I liked that one, even though I can't remember what they're about, per se. Magirangers, I was giggling all over the place because, I mean, I made a music video and I'm thinking I'm going to try to upload those. I have no idea why I haven't. or if it would be able to, or if I'm going to get copyright struck for them. I could try to put them up, but I have a feeling it won't work. But like, music videos that I've made, so I saw clips from Magiranger because of it. I'm telling you, the whole aspect of siblings and the way they interact with each other because they are siblings, like they did such a good job. That cast did such a good job. I loved Magiranger for that. I don't remember everything else that happened with it, and I don't remember if beyond that it was one of the better ones or not. I feel like there were like so often, unfortunately, green. Green is one of the ones in every Sentai that I tend, off the top of my head, I can't think of any green that I really particularly loved. Most of the greens were more like the ones that I really didn't like. They tend to be like the nice guy or the super naive and super, super, super awkward one or whatever. Like, I tend not to like the green. At the moment, off the top of my head, I can't think of any green that I particularly liked, and there were several of them that I didn't like. And I was completely interrupted and I do not remember what I was saying. Anyway, the point is, I said these were good things that were well worth your time, and I guarantee they are. Of course, these are included in the things that I have no record for. I don't know when I saw them. I do not remember. Beyond the fact that you know what year they came out, so obviously I didn't see them before that. So, the next one that I want to talk about is Go-Go Sentai Boukenger. And this one I can tell you more about because I at least partially watched this one more than once. One of the times that I watched it was only like maybe half watched. But Boukenger sticks out more to me because, yes, it's a bigger team, and in a way, no, I don't feel like I got to know the characters all that much better, but in another way, Boukenger is kind of more annoying in the way that it's a little more episodic. It's very, very scattered. So it's less good because it has a less of a proper, just straight through storyline. But the reason I can forgive them for that is because the fact they're doing that is because they kind of go back to characters. The characters are connected to certain stories, and I think some more than others. It has a thread that they go back to. They keep going back to some of the characters and whatnot. So I do feel like I got to know some of these characters better. And or they just have more of a unique or more of a strong something, and their characters kind of stood out as themselves more. That's what I said. With a lot of the Super Sentai, they have a bad habit of all of their characters just blending together, and they just become a blob of blendedness. They're just all blended, and they don't stick out as unique. Boukenger, I have to say, Eiji, there you go, I remember her name. Eiji is the extra in this one. He is one of my top favorite Sentai characters all across the board from everything I've seen. I love Eiji. Absolutely love Eiji. And I think one of the reasons that I do like him so much, like this was the impression back when I was watching it even, was that Eiji is the extra that comes into the team, and he is one of the few extras that really stands out as uniquely himself even after he joins the team, because so often so many of the extras, they join the team and they just blend in. In other words, they become obedient little followers of Red and just do things the way they're told to do them, and they're kind of their unique flair of a standalone hero individual kind of disappears a little. Like there's such a thing as like, you know, it's kind of almost like I said, where you have the movies where like not everybody can be the focused on hero of the story. Not everybody can be the main character. Unfortunately, a lot of the extras are introduced as a main character and then they fade into being a support character. And like that's not supposed to happen either. Main characters are not supposed to fade into support to becoming support characters. If they're introduced as a main character, they should be a main character all the way through. But it's like the only one that's allowed to be the main character is Red, and sometimes the extra for partials. And then it's more like certain episodes, certain people are allowed to be main characters. But for the most part, only Red is really allowed to be a main character. Everybody else is blended as a support. And I know I'm probably exaggerating a little bit, but at the same time, that's the impression you feel like you're left with when you look back at these shows, which is my biggest disappointment with all the Super Sentais. But Boukenger, getting back to it specifically, I absolutely love Eiji. He is so just himself, and it keeps going back to his stuff, because that's why I say in this one it's a little episodic, because they have multiple bad guys. Because, like, each set of bad guys or whatever, there's, like, specialties. Like, Eiji is the specialty of this group of bad guys. So, like, but then it like gets more into like yellow and black. Oh, I was saying something about greens, and okay, sorry. That's not entirely true. Looking at the pictures, there are some of the greens that I did either like or I was just perfectly fine with. I didn't have a problem with them. Just for some reason, the greens that I did not like do stick out a little more. I think there was more greens that I didn't like. Maybe it was half and half. I don't know. I think there was more of the blacks that I did like rather than the greens. But yes, I keep deviating away from Boukenger. Boukenger was really good. It's one of the best ones. In a way, like I liked red, and another way I didn't like red. And pink was kind of annoying. She's too much of a good girl. But I absolutely adore AG, and that's probably one of the biggest reasons I love Boukenger. Yeah, cat, as if I don't have a million other interruptions. Now you're jumping in my lap. Okay, hold on. The interruptions continue. And then right after saying that, we're kind of basically back to ones that I don't remember a whole lot about again. Because the next one is Juken Sentai Gekiranger. And on one hand, I mean, like, these guys are making a liar out of me again. Because, like, I mean, so many of these. There's only, like, 3 original ones. Maybe half of the ones I introduced to you already had only, like, 3. Okay, fine. There's only 3 so far that had 3. But that is still, like, 2 to 3 more than I remembered had only 3. This video is so scattered, but at the same time, if I start over, I don't know how to start over. I am sorry for that. Today is a scattery day, apparently. I thought it would be a much calmer one and easier to film, but apparently not. Gekiranger. There's only 3 to begin with, and this one would have been one of my most favorite, I think, because it is one of the ones with one of the best protagonists. I can't remember if he's actually full-on bad guy or just protagonist, because there is a massive difference between the two, and these days people are completely blurring the lines. Oh my gosh, does Final Fantasy ever blur the lines between protagonist and bad guy? And there's actually a big difference, okay? They're not the same thing. But in Gekiranger, and yes, I'm sorry, for the most part, for most of these things, I do not remember anybody's names. Common writers, I'm more likely remembers people's names than even those ones. I think a lot of them I don't remember anybody's names. So I just have to keep going by colors and extra and whatever. I'm not selling these very well, am I? Cat is back. Gekiranger. The bad guy in this one. Yeah, the protagonist in this one. Like, he's almost a favorite character, which is why I'm pretty sure he was not a bad guy, because I do not like bad guys, but I do often like protagonists. Like, it all depends what they're like by the end of the show. And, like, he was one of the really well done ones where you're completely drawn towards him and you have such sympathy for everything that he's going through and whatnot. So Gekiranger could have been one of my favorites, because, like, from what I remember, I really like all 3 of the original, like, the team as well. Although I don't remember who the extra is. The big problem that I remember with Dekaranger, I don't know if there's other problems, but the big problem I remember is the flipping costumes. All of their masters are like animals, so they're all animal costumes, but they're not in a costume that's really supposed to be them. They really are supposed to be, like, I forget what he is, some type of cat, and, like, there's an elephant, I think, that comes into it and stuff. They're supposed to be the actual animal, and their costumes are ridiculous looking. And it really pulls you out of the story. Sometimes I can tune it down and it doesn't matter as much to me as other times. Like, my sister absolutely hates it, because she had the same opinion from what I remember of Gekiranger. Both of us really liked Gekiranger. But both of us are bothered by the stupid costumes. And I'm not looking at pictures, because these ones I shouldn't need pictures for. Either the picture's not going to do anything for it, or I really don't need it. I remember it well enough. Gekiranger, Blue Gekiranger. There is a part of this story where something happens with Blue, and there's 2 of him. One of the coolest things about that is that the guy that played Blue, he's actually a twin in real life. So his real life twin was used to play his double in this one. That was actually really cool. I really appreciate that fact, because, like, too often they use the actor themselves to play 2 different characters or whatever, and there's only so far that can go. Some actors, like, they do it really well, and sometimes I think it's actually the script's fault that it didn't work, not so much the actor or actress's fault. But, like, it is hard for one actor or actress to play multiple characters in a drama. So, like, I really wish there was more twins and triplets that were all into acting so that they could do this more often, where it's like a real life twin or something that comes into it. But anyway, that was all really cool about Gekiranger, and I was much more focused on Gekiranger than I was on Boukenger. I'm sorry. Boukenger, I loved it. Gekiranger, I loved it, apart from the costumes. The next one is Engine Sentai Go-Onger, and the sucky thing about this one is that I don't remember a whole lot about it, because I just don't remember a whole lot about it, and I kind of feel like a lot of the characters just kind of blended together and weren't really a big thing. I really liked Red, though. From what I remember, I really liked Red. And I'm pretty sure there was other things about it that, like, it was kind of potentially one of the better done stories, just the characters kind of blended together a little bit. I could be wrong, but at the moment, like, yeah, I feel like they blended together. And also, because I saw the picture, yeah, there's a black and a green in this one, and a yellow. So, okay, fine. But one of the things, Engine Sentai Go-Onger, Red, I got so excited and happy when he came into one of the later Sentais. That showed you how much I really did like him, because, like, you know, when they show up in one of the other ones and your instant reaction is then you know you loved them. Even if I don't really particularly remember a whole ton about them, I loved Red in Go-Onger, clearly, because I was just so happy to see him show up. So the next one on the list is Samurai Sentai Shinkenger, and this one I am terribly sorry. I hope my opinion changes of it this time around, but, like, this one, from what I remember, my younger sister really liked it, at least partially, I'm sure, because Red Sentai is played by Tori, who is one of both of our favorite actors. However, he's also one of my favorite actors. However, I'm pretty sure that my best friend also watched this one, and from what I remember, she liked it as well. So both of them liked it. But when I watched it, all I remember is that I almost hated it. I disliked it so much that I almost hated it. This is the only Sentai I can think of that I actually basically hated it. That's the impression of remembering that I have, and I do not remember exactly why, apart from the fact that they're samurai. They are so flippin' arrogant it isn't even funny, is all I remember. And I hate that. I hate arrogance. Like, can't with this flippin' arrogance. Unfortunately, that's basically all I remember about that. This one is another one that did have two reds. Can't tell you anything about the two reds because that's spoilers. That was my impression. I do need to watch it again. I very much need to watch it again so I can figure out if I still dislike it that much, or if it was just something I was just clearly not in the right mood or something. I don't know. And that's what I remember about it right now. If two of the three of us really liked it, maybe it's me that's the problem. Okay, moving on to the next one is Tensou Sentai Goseiger. And this one is another one where, like, I didn't like it. It's not that I hated it, and there were things about it that I did like. Because this is another one that has siblings, for one thing. It's the guy and a girl in this one, so it's brother and sister in this one. Absolutely love it. Absolutely loved it. The brother, I absolutely loved him. And I even liked her from what I remember. It's also, like, a really sad one, because it's like I forgot until I was looking at the pictures that, like, this whole one, like, they come from a different planet, and they always come in, like, pairs. They're supposed to have a partner. So the brother and sister are a partner. Red and pink are a partner. And then you notice blue is all by himself. Why? Because before the story starts, he lost his partner. I can't remember how exactly, but his partner got killed. So it's really sad. It comes up as a really sad point, I think more than once, because that guy is the only one that's all by himself. The others still have their partners, and he's just alone. It's like they're a team, but at the same time, they have their partners within the team. So it's like a special thing, and he doesn't have his, so it's sad. The problem with this one, the biggest problem that I remember, is that it is also a lot more scattered and, like, disconnected, because it's like they have a bad guy and they defeat him, and they have a bad guy and they defeat him, and they have a bad guy and they defeat him, and they have a bad guy, and it's like, would you stop? They keep, like, literally starting over again. How many times throughout this one did they start over again instead of finishing it? Eventually, by the end of it, you see, like, there is a straight through. This one bad guy was behind the whole thing the whole way, driving the force toward them or whatever. But as you're watching, you're like, we keep doing this, and it's really, really annoying. This is another one that I very much need to watch again to see how much my opinion changed of it. I don't know. And then the next one on the list is Kaizoku Sentai Gokaiger, and this is by far one of my total absolute top favorite. I don't know for positive if I have a top favorite, only 3 of them. If I do, this is definitely one of the top 3. I absolutely love this one. But after saying that, the important question is, why did I love this one so much? Well, for one thing, Red is Captain Marvelous, and he deserves that name. He is one of the coolest, one of the best leaders, and just one of the most epic people. Like, I absolutely adore Captain Marvelous. He is so cool. So cool. The weird thing is, I mean, I guess it's his coolness that, like, outdoes everybody else, because, like, Yellow, she's okay. Blue, I really liked Joe. See, I remember some names. Blue is Joe. I really liked Joe. Green, Doc, I didn't like him. And the pink girl, I don't remember her name at the moment, but she was okay. So, and then Silver, no, sometimes he was okay, but like, oh my gosh, he's like the ADHD kid that needs meds, okay? Like, I have ADHD, I'm not just saying that to be like nasty, I mean legit. He needs something to calm him down. He is just way too like, dude, stop. That was Silver. I think he's Silver. Yes, he's Silver. The extra guy. Captain Marvelous. I absolutely adore Captain Marvelous. Totally, straight across the board, one of my ultimate favorites of any Sentai. Just like with Eiji. Those 2. There you go. There's 2 of them. There's a whole lot of them. I don't remember exactly how much I loved them, but those 2, I will never forget how much I love and adore those 2 characters. Captain Marvelous, absolutely love him. Now, the special thing about Gokaiger is that Gokaiger was the 35th Super Sentai, so it was like a special Sentai because it had reached a certain milestone number, 35, and therefore they made it a special one. So what they did in this one, you have your team of the regular colors that they are, but they're treasure hunting the keys because they're pirates, but they only steal from the bad guys. They're like the only type of like good pirates there are, because in actuality, in real life, like cartoons and whatever have made us like pirates, when in actuality pirates were really horrendously bad people in real life. Okay, they're not actually ones to aspire to like. But these guys are pirates, but they're like, they only steal from the bad guys because the bad guys are real bad guys. They're like wiping everything out. Except, of course, as usual, once they reach Earth, it's like, let's just like send a couple of people every now and then. Even though we got this giant fleet and could easily wipe them out at the drop of a hat. No, we keep getting foiled by the pirates. And I'm like, well, that's because you guys are dumb enough to send like 2 little bad guys at a time. Like, really? Anyway, beyond that, the team can switch. They can use any of the previous Sentai. They can use any of their outfits because they have these little keys that make it that they can switch between anyone they want. They can use any key that's their color. So within this one, I cannot remember for sure how many of them, but several of the reds from previous Sentais, I think potentially a different color from 1 or 2 of them, but I think it was mainly the reds. I told you they're the focus. Mainly the reds came into this one. You get like the guest appearance of a bunch of the reds from before this. So I really liked this one. I also kind of feel like, how did I word it when I was watching it? I don't remember exactly how many I'd seen by this point. I don't know if I'd seen anything beyond it because I don't remember when I started watching. I think it was actually potentially around when Gokaiger came out. I think that was when I started watching Sentais in actuality, now that I'm thinking about it. Gokaiger came out in 2011 to 2012, and I think that was around the time that I actually had started watching them. So, a bunch of the ones that were after this, like, they were new when I saw them. There you go. That puts a bit of a timestamp on it. But yeah. I loved Gokaiger. Absolutely loved Gokaiger. It is right up there at the very top of favorites. And then after the Gokaiger, we had Tokume Sentai Go Buster. Oh, my heart. Every time I think about this one, and I'm not kidding, I laugh, but I'm not kidding. Every time I think of Go Buster, my heart kind of hurts. Go Buster is one of the ones where a character dies. But it's not even just that a character dies in this one. It's Red. I don't remember his name. Blue? I actually don't like Blue. Yellow? I absolutely hate Yellow. She is like the worst spoiled brat, so disgustingly arrogant, and her flippin' rabbit tries to make the excuse, well, it's the way she was raised, it's not really her fault. And I'm like, yeah, no, Rabbit, you're even worse than she is. I absolutely hate that duo. Later on, I think closer to the end, they start to get a little bit better. So maybe I just super strongly dislike them by the end. I don't remember. But for sure, like, it took a long time, if ever, that I had any kind of like at all for her. I hate her. Cannot with the amount of arrogance she is. She is such a jerky, arrogant. And then Blue, there's just something about him that is just really annoying. Don't like them. Nick. Of course, I remember the robot Nick's name. What is the Red's name? Anyway, I am not entirely positive why. I think like this one had a stronger, much more like what was happening to Red. It's just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then, yeah, like the extra in this one, I absolutely love this extra too. And I promise you, it's not because it's the same actor that played Yellow from the Maho Sentai. Because it is. It's the same actor. I loved Yellow in Maho Sentai, and I loved the extra in Go Buster, and I promise it's not because it's the same actor. Their character. I love the extra in Go Buster. I loved the extra, and I absolutely love Red. And even though Nick is a machine, he's just a robot. I absolutely love Nick too. So I absolutely loved 3 characters in this one. I absolutely hated one of them, and Blue's robot is really irritating. Like, that type of character is just so irritating. He's just apologizing for everything all the time and trying to make up for everything all the time. And also, go away. I cannot with you. So sadly, there's a whole bunch of them in this one that I do not like or downright hate. And then there's ones that I absolutely adore and love. So I got very, very mixed feelings on Go Buster. Oh gosh, do I ever. Very mixed feelings. And the next one would be Zuden Sentai Kyoryuger. And just from the name, I'm like, huh? But, and I was thinking this is one of the ones that I hadn't seen. And then I went and looked at a picture and I'm like, of course I saw that one. This is one that my sister absolutely loved. I think this is potentially one of her favorites. And I think my best friend saw this one and really liked it too. And this is also one that I really liked. I don't remember exactly why though. Like Red, we absolutely love Red. But I don't really remember entirely why. I think he was one of those ones also that was like a super good leader. Super good leader. I don't remember the extra guy. I don't remember anybody else. I think it was Pink. Spoiler alert here. I think it was Pink that actually had a crush on Red. Was she pink or was she white? I don't know. I don't remember. But they were like adorable. And by the way, I forgot to mention, yes, Boukenger had somebody, at least one, with a crush on somebody. And what was the other one? I forget. There was one other one, I think, where somebody had a crush on somebody. Or was with somebody. Anyway, that's not the point. The Kyoryuger. It's another one focused on dinosaurs like Abaranger. Yes, some of these themes come back again. Every single one of the Sentais has a theme that they focus everything on. And some of the themes are repeated. I don't even know why. I don't remember a whole lot about this one. I feel like there were some of the characters that just did not stand out as well. And then there was other ones that did. There was something about this one. Something particular. What was it that made it so that it was one of the better on? I don't remember why. And yet at the same time, while remembering that it was a good one, for some reason, I have like mostly forgot about it. And I still to this day haven't gone back and watched it a second time. Even though I'm like, it is so good that I really need to see it a second time. So that's awkward. Then the next one is Resha Sentai Tokyuger. And this one I also actually have mixed feelings about. Because there's certain aspects of it that I loved. Like Red is adorable. And his name is Light, by the way, with an L, not Right with an R. He is adorable. And I loved the quote he said at one point because I'm like, that is so me. It is so me. I can't remember exactly how he put it, but he said something like, I think it was yellow, was like on his case more often than once. There were several times where she's on his case because he's so out there. That kid has ADHD, okay? He's totally got ADHD. And he's just out there doing his thing. And she's always like, come back here and behave and all this stuff. And why are you like this? And I think potentially she was even slightly jealous that he was able to do that. And she couldn't. I don't know. But it was so cute. And it was so true. At the one point where he basically told her the only reason he can do this is because she's there backing him up. And I'm like, exactly. When I was a child, I was out there and I was crazy and I did whatever because I knew I had the network of safety, i.e. my siblings around me. They were the ones that protected me. They were the ones that watched out for me. I could do whatever crazy thing I wanted because they were there keeping me safe. Once they disappeared, I couldn't do it anymore. I have been unable to be that carefree little girl that just did whatever ever since my family started disappearing from around me. They all live somewhere else. I'm by myself. I can't do that anymore because, like, I have no safety net. They were my safety net and they're gone. And that like really got me when he said that to her. And I'm like, yes, you support people like me that have ADHD, people like him that have that. You don't understand how important you are to us because you're the ones that protect us. Well, we're nuts. We're allowed to be nuts because you're there keeping us safe. And so, but yeah, he's adorable in this one. And there's other aspects about it that I liked. But there's also stuff about it that was a little slightly disappointing. There is a major twist in this one that you maybe can see coming, but at the same time, like when you find out, you're like, oh. But yeah, there's also, from what I remember, like some of the characters just, it really, really felt like copy paste in this one, where you really, really, the characters did not stand out as individuals. A whole lot of them didn't. And then I think half of my irritation with this one actually comes from one of the movies, because in one of the movies later on, they can't see what they can see in Tokuger anymore because they've grown up, and all grown-ups lose their imagination. I'm like, how dare you? That is, for one thing, not true, and you know it. And for another thing, I mean, I think even within the show, there was like one or two adults in the entire thing that actually could see the train, apart from our team. And I'm like, if anybody could, like if anybody would never, ever lose their ability to see that train, it's at the very least Light. There is no way that he would ever lose the ability to see that train unless something drastically nasty happened to him. I'm telling you, as a person that's been there, something really bad. Not just the mundane, normal whatever of growing up. No, it would have to be something really bad for him to lose the ability to see that train. Come on. And that made me really mad. And I don't know if it's that, if it's kind of tainting my view of Tokuger, or if it's just, I mean, there's something about the plot twist that on one hand is really well done and good, and on the other hand, I'm like, now you've made me slightly uncomfortable with this entire thing. So, without spoiling it, that's as much as I can say about Tokuger. And then there's Shuriken Sentai Ninja, and unfortunately, I don't remember this one. This is one that's definitely had family ties to it because it goes back to the ninja aspect, and it's like within the clan. I think maybe Red and White were siblings. But exactly what else, I don't know. There was some stuff, I think potentially it was this one, where I felt like they built something up to have real potential of being really interesting and unique and good, but they kind of ended up dropping the ball. Like, who was it? Blue, that was like a writer or something? And like, they started on a path of something really unique and interesting, and they kind of took it, and then they just turned around and stopped. And everything just became blended, and nobody was standing out, and it was just, I was like, why? Why did that happen? That was really bitter disappointment. And that's all I can really remember about Ninja. Then there's Dobutsu Sentai Zyoger. What the heck? I do not normally have a problem pronouncing Japanese words, but that one is a weird one. Why did they spell it that way? Anyway, I don't remember this one very well, except that I didn't like it. Because, as humans, yes, they were really cute and cool and whatever, and it was good. However, they're not humans. They're from a different, I think they're aliens. So on one hand, fine, aliens. But on the other hand, they're literally animal aliens. They aren't even actually human-looking aliens. That's just some weird disguise they put on so that humans wouldn't notice that they're not from Earth. So they are not human in the slightest. They don't even look human. It's not like they're aliens from another planet that kind of look human. They aren't. They're literally these animal things, alien-formed aliens with animal forms from a different planet. And I'm like, you've instantly lost my interest here. I just can't when I know for a fact that you're not even human. And I don't really remember. I think it actually had a pretty good story otherwise, and other people would probably not be bothered by that and really like this one. That's just a personal thing to me, and I know it. But because of that, I'm like, ugh. And I honestly don't remember like anything else about it. And then move on to Uchu Sentai Kyuranger that I'm only going to briefly mention because I've never seen this one. This is definitely one of the ones that I have never seen. And I actually have absolutely no interest in seeing it. Like, zero interest in seeing it. Because, again, this is one where there's, like, for one thing, this original team is massive from what I remember. There's, like, a massive amount of characters in this one. Way, 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 way too many. And then on top of that, some of the original core team, not only are they aliens that only sort of vaguely kind of sort of a little bit kind of look like weird little human beings. On top of that, they don't even mask themselves like they did in the Dobutsu one. They don't even pretend to look human. They just continue in these like robotic alien costume things that make them look ridiculous. And I just legit cannot connect with characters like this. I personally cannot connect with characters like this. I don't know how I connected with Nick. Nick looked enough like a human that, like, I loved Nick. And watching his interaction with whatever Red's name is. But I can't with characters like that. I can't. It's like, not only can I not, I don't want to. I'm like, get out of here. So I have no interest in that one whatsoever. And then there's Kaito Sentai Lupin Ranger versus Keisetsu Sentai Patranger, which I only sort of remember. But at the same time, I mean, like, I do remember it. And it was a good one. It was a fascinatingly different one because it is the only one where there's literally two teams. There's two teams of 3 people. And then there's the extra who I found, like, a super interesting and good plot twist because, I don't know if I should spoil it. I can't remember how soon they say it. His whole, what he's doing throughout the show and all of that stuff. So, like, I liked this one because these teams are against each other, but at the same time, they keep helping each other because one set are thieves and the other set are police. And then I don't remember. I can't remember if there was something that they just completely dropped the ball on and just was not as well done as it could have been. And if they had done it as well as they should have, it would have been epic. But because they slightly dropped the ball, it was just really good. I can't remember for sure. And I'm also positive there was something about it that was really sad. And I can't remember if there was something that I actually did not like that, like, really disappointed me at the end because I just didn't like it. I don't remember for sure. This was a good one, though, otherwise. I don't remember the characters. I don't remember who my favorite characters would have been. I'm not sure. But it did stick out in that way where there's the two. I think I also actually watched this one. Which year was this one? This one was 2018 to 2019. I think I basically watched this one. I can't remember if it was as it was coming out. I watched part of it as it was coming out and then kind of, like, you know, left it for a while and waited for it to catch up a bit because, like I said before, these stupid things only give you 1 episode per week for an entire year and they're only like 20-ish minutes long. I'm like, seriously right now? Seriously? Like, no. I can't remember if I actually watched this one while it was coming out or if it was just really close to when it came out that I watched it. But Kishiryu Sentai Ryu Soldier is the last one that I did watch. And I keep forgetting that I watched it because I was massively, massively, massively disappointed in this one. And that is all I remember about it. Like, my brain doesn't comprehend that I saw this one. Like, I see the name and I'm like, what? I thought I hadn't seen that one. And then I saw a picture and I'm like, oh no, I did see this one. But I was massively disappointed in it. And I don't know why. I don't remember why. I don't know. I need to rewatch it and find out what it is. All I remember is that it was a massive disappointment. And then the last two that I know exist that I want to see, but at the same time I don't know, Machine Sentai Kitamager. Again, with the stupid costumes, I don't know why this has become so prevalent. I feel like more and more and more, they just put everybody in costumes instead of having real people. More and more and more, and it's really annoying. Machine Sentai, I wanted to watch it though because Blue, for sure, at least part of the reason why I wanted to watch it is because Blue is played by, I don't remember his name, but he is an actor that I believe it was one of the Garos that he was in. I put it up on the screen because I don't remember off the top of my head right now. What was his name? Raven or something like that? So it's because of him that I particularly do intend to watch this one at some point. And if I rewatch all of these, it's going to take a while before I watch that one. Because even if they're only 20-minute episodes, these things have many episodes. It takes a long time to watch them, even if I'm skipping all of the fights. So I do intend to watch that one. And then there's Kikai Center Zenkaiger, which, like, I've never seen it. That was the 2021 to 2022, and that is the last one that I know of. Last time I looked it up, that's the last one that I know of that I have any interest in potentially watching, but I have yet to see it. I have not seen it yet. So there you go. There's only the two that I have actually never seen, and it was not the two that I was thinking. So, I was talking as fast as possible, and that is kind of basically a brief introduction, because that's basically all I remember of the impressions and the whatever, and not much of an explanation of what's going on. So, after saying all of that, just the names of it, which ones were actually the best ones? Which ones did I say were the best ones? I think. Ranking. Oh, we're trying to put them in ranking from impressions of what I remember. And then, if I do actually rewatch them, and if anybody wants to know, maybe I'll, like, re-rank them and see how different it is from ranking this just off of impressions of what I remember. There you go. I can't talk about any of the movies right now because there's not very many on this list here, and I don't really remember any of them. So, that's what I can tell you. I hope that I at least sort of made you interested in these and introduced you to the fact that they actually do have stories and they actually do have legitimate characters and they actually do impact you quite a lot. Some of them quite a lot more than others. Some of them, like, they just have, like, such a legit, like, their focus was clearly on the story. Their focus was clearly on the characters. They were trying and they succeeded in telling you a story that left an impact on you and an impression on you. And then there's other ones, I feel more and more later on, where it's like, was this more like an agenda? Or was this some kind of, like, I don't know, because it feels less and less like a story where you actually cared about the story and the characters and you cared more about something else. And where you guys are just getting super lazy. Super, super lazy. I hope you enjoyed that, even though it was long, because there was actually a lot of them. So it's no wonder that this video is so long. I hope you watched it. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you got curious about some of these. I hope you go and look them up and watch them and tell me what you think of them. Because some of them are so definitely worth it. I feel like a little kid again. Anyway, that's all. Bye.